Chapter 19: Crossing the River of Heaven. Trials and Triumphs on the Pilgrimage. The journey of the holy monks was not without its challenges. They traversed through the seasons, their resolve unbroken, their spirits bright. One day, as the autumn leaves rustled underfoot, the Tang priest, Sanzang, pondered where they would rest their heads for the night. Monkey, ever the pragmatic one, reminded him of the simplicity of a monk's life, under the vast sky, guided by the moon and stars. As night approached, the travelers found themselves at the banks of a river, its waters vast and mysterious. The river of heaven, as a stone tablet revealed, stretched 250 miles across, a barrier that few had crossed. The sound of drums and cymbals echoed in the air, leading them to a village nestled by the river's edge. The village was a picture of tranquility, protected by hills and blessed by the river's bounty. Sanzang, seeking shelter, approached a house adorned with a silken banner, its interior aglow with candles and lanterns. An old man, his neck adorned with prayer beads, was about to close the gate when Sanzang greeted him with a respectful bow. The old man, initially skeptical of Sanzang's claim of journeying from the Great Tang in the east, was eventually convinced by the tales of the disciples who had cleared paths and built bridges for their master. The old man, Chen Cheng, welcomed Sanzang and his disciples into his home, despite the initial shock of their appearance. Inside, the disciples' boisterous entrance had disrupted a religious ceremony, sending the monks fleeing in terror. The old man's hospitality, however, remained unshaken, and he offered them food and drink. Pig, with his insatiable appetite, devoured the food with a fervor that left the servants in awe. As the night wore on, the old men of the house, Qin Cheng and his brother Qin Qing, revealed the true purpose of their feast. It was a preparation for death, a somber event that loomed over the village. The great king of miraculous response, a deity to whom they offered sacrifices, demanded a heavy toll, the lives of a boy and a girl each year. The old men's tale was one of sorrow and fear. The great king, though kind in sending timely rain and preventing drought, was a malevolent force who took pleasure in consuming children. This year, the dreaded sacrifice had fallen upon the Chen family. Chen Qing's son, Chen Guangiven, and Chen Cheng's daughter, Pan of Gold, were to be the offerings. Monkey, moved by their plight, offered a solution. He proposed to take the child's place, confident that his divine powers would protect him from the great king's appetite. Chen Qing, overwhelmed with gratitude, promised to reward Monkey with 1,000 ounces of silver for his selfless act. With a plan in place, Monkey and Pig prepared to impersonate the children. Monkey, with a spell and a shake of his body, transformed into the likeness of Chen Guangiven, while Pig, with some coaxing and a bit of magic from Monkey, took on the appearance of Pan of Gold. The old men were instructed to treat the real children as if nothing had happened, to avoid arousing suspicion. As the villagers gathered, their drums and gongs heralding the grim ceremony, Monkey and Pig were placed in red lacquer dishes, ready to be offered to the great king. The old men, their hearts heavy with a mix of hope and dread, watched as their substitutes were carried towards the temple. As the villagers left, the temple fell silent, and the air grew tense. Pig, ever the glutton for sleep, suggested they return to their host's home, but Monkey, ever the vigilant, reminded him of their duty to protect the villagers and thwart the real great king, a monstrous creature that had been feasting on the sacrifices. The wind howled outside, and the monster arrived, a fearsome sight with golden armor and a jade belt, his eyes like stars and teeth like saws. He blocked the entrance, demanding to know who had made the sacrifice this year. Monkey, in the guise of the boy, replied with a boldness that surprised the monster. The creature, taken aback by the boy's courage and eloquence, hesitated. He asked the boy's name, and declared his intention to eat them as per the old custom. But Monkey, ever the trickster, invited him to feast, causing the monster to falter. The monster, now wary, decided to start with the girl, Pan of Gold, but Pig, in a panic, urged him to follow tradition. The monster lunged, but Pig, now in his true form, fought back with his rake, causing the monster to flee. Monkey, who had also resumed his true form, pursued the creature, only to find 2 fish scales the size of an ice dish. They knew then that the monster was a river creature, and they decided to return to the temple to plan their next move. Back at the Chen household, the Tang priest, Friar Sand, and the Chen brothers awaited news. Monkey and Pig arrived, bringing the offerings back with them. The old gentleman, delighted by the turn of events, prepared rooms for the Surtu to rest. Meanwhile, the monster, back in his watery palace, brooded over his defeat. His river clansmen, concerned for their king, listened as he recounted his encounter with the disciples of the holy priest from Great Tang. The monster, desperate for revenge, sought a way to capture the Tang priest. A female mandarin fish, in patterned clothes, approached him with a plan. She suggested using the monster's powers to create a blizzard that would freeze the river of heaven, then lure the Tang priest and his disciples onto the ice by creating the illusion of people crossing the river. The monster, delighted by the simplicity of the plan, set about casting his spell, and soon the river was frozen solid. The Tang priest and his disciples, staying at the Chen house, were awoken by the cold. Pig, shivering, complained of the chill, but Monkey, ever the stoic, reminded him that monks were not affected by the elements. The Tang priest, however, noticed the frost and the frozen pond, and the beauty of the snowfall outside. The next morning, the villagers spoke of the frozen river, and the Tang priest, eager to continue his journey, decided to cross the river on foot. Despite the pleas of old Mr. Chun to wait for the ice to melt, the Tang priest, with his disciples, set out onto the ice. They wrapped rice straw around the horses' hooves for traction and proceeded cautiously, using their staffs and weapons as walking poles for balance. As they ventured further, a loud creaking noise from beneath the ice startled them, but Pig reassured them it was just the river settling. They continued on, but their journey was cut short when the ice cracked beneath them. The Tang priest and the white horse fell into the freezing water, captured by the monster who had been waiting beneath the ice. Back on the bank, Monkey, who had leaped into the air, was informed by Pig and Friar Sand that their master was lost. They decided to return to the Chen household to prepare for a rescue mission. The Chen brothers, heartbroken by the news, feared the worst for their revered guest. But Monkey, ever the confident, assured them that their master would not die and that they would rescue him and eliminate the monster. They reached the bank of the river, the very place where the monster lurked beneath the waters, and strategized their approach. Pig, with his brutish strength, was the first to suggest he venture into the water. But Monkey, wise beyond his years, knew his own limitations. He was no match for the creature in the watery depths. Instead, he relied on the aquatic skills of his brothers. Friar Sand, ever the loyal and practical one, agreed to dive into the river, but only after much deliberation. He warned that if the Tang priest had met a tragic end, their search would be in vain. As they spoke, a mischievous glint appeared in Monkey's eyes. He challenged Pig to carry him across the river, knowing full well that Pig had been outwitted many times before. Pig, eager to turn the tables, agreed with a sly grin. Little did he know that Monkey had plans of his own. As Pig took Monkey on his back, the great sage transformed a strand of his hair into a duplicate of himself, leaving the real Monkey to cling to Pig's ear undetected. The journey underwater was treacherous, with the currents strong and the riverbed a labyrinth of darkness. As they pressed on, Pig stumbled, causing the double of Monkey to float away harmlessly. Friar Sand, ever the vigilant one, questioned Pig's clumsiness, but Pig brushed it off, eager to continue the search for their master. It was then that the true monkey revealed himself, much to Pig's embarrassment. The oaf apologized profusely, promising not to falter again. With renewed determination, they pressed on, discovering a grand building marked as the residence of the river turtle, the lair of the monster. Friar Sand and Pig approached with caution, knowing they were no match for the monster in his own domain. They decided to split up, with Monkey taking the lead in his true form this time, scouting the enemy's territory. He transformed into a female shrimp, his agility and wit allowing him to blend in seamlessly. Inside the residence, the monster, a fearsome creature with a mace of copper, held court over his watery minions. They were deep in discussion about their plans to feast on the Tang priest. Monkey overheard that their master was locked in a stone chest, alive but in great distress. With stealth and a heavy heart, Monkey listened to the Tang priest's lament within the chest, a tale of a life plagued by watery misfortunes. The master's despair was palpable, but Monkey vowed to save him, promising a swift rescue. Returning to his brothers, Monkey relayed the plan. They were to challenge the monster to a battle, feign defeat, and lure him out of the water. It was a risky strategy, but it was their only hope. As the battle commenced, Pig and Friar Sand fought valiantly, their weapons clashing against the monster's mace. The fight was fierce, but the monster was a formidable foe. When it seemed that all was lost, Monkey struck from the shore, his iron cudgel connecting with the monster's defenses. The monster, caught off guard, retreated into the water, but the brothers were relentless. They pursued him, their weapons a blur of determination, but the monster was cunning and barricaded himself within his palace, refusing to face them again. With time running out, Monkey knew they needed help. He left his brothers to guard the bank and set off to seek the guidance of the Bodhisattva Guanyin. In her grove, he found her in a state of disarray, peeling bamboo with a knife of steel. Despite her unusual appearance, she listened intently to Monkey's plea. The Bodhisattva, moved by the urgency of the situation, agreed to assist. She wove a basket from purple bamboo, a tool that would prove instrumental in their quest. Together, they returned to the river, where Pig and Friar Sand awaited with bated breath. Guanyin, with a divine command, cast the basket into the river and pulled out a glistening goldfish. The monster, it turned out, was none other than a goldfish she had raised in her lotus pool, now wielding a 9-knobbed copper mace it had forged from an unopened lotus bud. The Bodhisattva's intervention had saved the day. With the monster captured, Monkey and his brothers were faced with a new challenge, crossing the river. The ancient soft-shelled turtle, a creature of divine origin, offered to ferry them across. Despite initial suspicions, Monkey accepted the turtle's help, and they all climbed onto its back, crossing the river of heaven to safety. As they reached the other side, the Tang priest, grateful for his rescue, promised to ask the Lord Buddha about the turtle's fate when he returned with the sacred scriptures. The ancient soft-shelled turtle, content with the hope of transformation, dove back into the river, while the pilgrims continued their journey westward. If you want to know what happened afterwards, listen to the explanation in the next installment.